Hi there, everybody. It is Bonnie here on Intuitive Eating Wednesday. We're going to take a moment and just give some time for people to come in to view today's training. And while we're waiting on some people to come on in live, I'm going to just connect to Instagram because we're going to do Instagram live as well. So give me a moment for that. Hi there, Instagram world followers. I am here live for Intuitive Eating Wednesday. This is Bonnie Giller. So now I am streaming live both on Facebook, YouTube, and on Instagram. So when you come in, come say hello. Hi, Louise. Oh, I'm glad that you made it today. This is a very important topic. I'm super, super glad that you are here. And if you're showing up live with me on Instagram, come say hello as well. And those of you, you're going to see my head turning back and forth because I have my Instagram set up here on my phone. But over here is where I'm talking to you on Facebook. So I'm trying to, kind of like do this for all people on all social media channels. So if you see me turning my head, I just want to kind of make eye contact with all of you in different places. So come say hello. Louise is here, and I'm really grateful that you are here, Louise. I hope you are healing. I see some of your posts on Facebook, so it looks like you're doing well with your rehab. So today's topic is super, super important. It's all about how do we navigate the fear of weight gain when we're on our intuitive eating journey. So if you are on your intuitive eating journey, pop a comment in. If you've started intuitive eating, if you've been a long time dieter and you've given up dieting to try to work through this process of intuitive eating, let me know. If you've been considering working through intuitive eating, really embracing it, but you have a fear of what will happen to your body and your weight, also pop a comment in because it is a very real topic and it's a very important topic. And if you are watching on replay, then absolutely come and put your comments in both on Instagram as well as YouTube or Facebook. And I will come back and I will go ahead and respond and we can have some conversation around this important topic. All right, so let's get started. Let's jump in. How do we navigate the fear of gaining weight while learning to eat intuitively? All right, Louise says, fighting diet mentality, it's deep in my head. Yes, Louise, I know that it is deep in your head. And guess what? You're not alone. You're not the only one. Not that it makes it any easier for you to really chip away at it, but it will slowly but surely if you keep at it. By the way, Louise, check your email. I sent an email out a little bit ago for those who have purchased the Intuitive Eating Basics self-paced course. You're going to want to check that email after this live. So when you are first embarking on the intuitive eating journey, there are absolutely a lot of questions that circulate in the mind of many intuitive eater newbies. So, for example, does intuitive eating make you quote unquote fat? I've heard this. This is verbatim. So these are things that actually I have heard from people. And so that's where I'm bringing these questions to you. So let me know if these are questions that you've had in your head as well. What if I gain weight? Then what do I do? How will I deal with weight gain if I do gain weight? And that does happen. So there's a lot of questions that come into the mind of somebody who really does want to stop dieting, but has that fear because they hear, oh my God, I'm going to gain weight. Or their mind tells them, well, if intuitive eating is, eat what I want, there's no food restriction, how could I not possibly gain weight, right? So there's a lot to unpack here. So the truth is that when beginning your intuitive eating journey, weight gain or weight fluctuation is totally normal. But again, as I say, I know it can bring up a lot of discomfort, a lot of fear, and a lot of anxiety. Diet culture and your own personal dieting history has conditioned you to believe that weight gain is absolutely something to fear, that it's the worst thing in the world, right? And so it can be difficult to navigate this concept. And that's why I'm doing this training today so we can start at least the process of working through it together. Now, the answer is not straightforward, okay, as we'd all like it to be. When you give up dieting and restriction, right? You give up that food restriction, you give up dieting for good. and you accept a new way of living and eating, the truth is that no one knows how your personal body, your individual body is going to react. So I want to say that again, okay? When you give up dieting and you give up restriction for good and you do work through this new way of living and eating, the truth is nobody knows. You don't know, I don't know, you guys on Facebook and YouTube, we don't know. Nobody knows. No doctor, no dietitian, nobody knows how your body's going to react. Some people may gain weight, some people may lose weight, others people's weight may stay the same. If you've come into this journey with a restrictive eating disorder and or you've chronically dieted and you've suppressed your weight, meaning you've suppressed it below what is a natural weight for you, then you may in fact gain some weight in this process. Weight gain can also occur in the short term. Once you release all your food rules, you sort of get out of food prison, right? And you eat all your forbidden foods. So I want to explain what happens when we do that, right? You may gain weight initially, but then that will start to normalize. So let's set this up. Let's visualize what I'm talking about. Here you are chronically dieting for many years. Excuse me. And you have all these lists of foods not allowed, foods allowed, not allowed, candy, good, bad, and so on. You've labeled your foods. And now you've embraced intuitive eating and you are like not going to label foods anymore. And you're going to know, I'm going to bring all these foods into my world. So here's this pendulum. You may have heard of this pendulum analogy before, but I'm going to repeat it. And if you've never heard of it, now you will. So the pendulum swings all the way up for restriction. You're not allowing yourself to eat any of these foods, restriction. And then you give up that restriction and this pendulum, right, when it's tight up here, it's going to swing all the way over here. Sometimes we call this diet land and donut land. Don't know why we have to refer it to donut land, but the idea is that all the foods that you were never allowing yourself to eat, now you're eating, but you're eating and eating and eating and eating and eating it to get used to eating it again, right? Until you've habituated to it. And so initially there may be some weight gain. But what happens over time, and that's part of the process. What happens over time is as you normalize the eating of those foods and you realize, okay, so I don't need to eat all those forbidden foods all the time in this amount anymore because I can have them anytime I want. That pendulum comes back down to swing middle. And when that happens, generally any weight gain that you might have had from that pendulum swinging all the way up here will start to normalize as well. Let me know if that makes sense to you. Let me know if you have any comments or questions on that analogy that I just provided for you. And if you're here with me live, please say hello so I know who's here. So, and then there are also people that, once they learn to attune to their inner signals and they enjoy gentle movement, they're managing stress and sleep, and they have peace with their food and peace with their bodies, they may lose weight through the process. What I can tell you is this: the ups and down of your weight will stop. So that weight cycling, you lose, you gain, you lose, you gain, you lose, you gain the same pounds, and then maybe you gain back some extra ones there too, right? Your body will settle into a weight and you will maintain that weight. I've seen it over and over again in my clients. So no matter what the outcome can be, I know and I fully understand that the unknown can be very scary for you. It's really normal. Tell me if this is a very big fear of yours, the potential weight gain through the process. Is that something that brings up fear, discomfort, and anxiety for you? So please put a comment. If you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, or if you're on Instagram, put a comment and let me know what your feelings are about that. So there are many strategies which I am going to share with you a little bit in just a few minutes on how you can really work through the uncomfortable feelings that come up. Okay, so we see that Louise says definitely. Okay, so this is definitely something that comes up for you in terms of a fear. Okay, Louise is watching on Facebook. If anybody on Instagram wants to comment, that would be great as well. If you're just joining me now, be sure to go back to the beginning of this live so that you could, because we are on for about 10 minutes already, because I've shared a lot of really important information to help understand about that potential weight gain and what your body might end up doing. Okay, so let's just understand more about that fear. Okay, so yes, the fear that comes up. Why? Why is there fear around potentially gaining some weight? Well, two words: diet culture. The messages that are pushed by diet culture have forced you to believe that you can, quote unquote, control your weight, when in reality, that is not the case. We cannot sculpt and control our weight in the manner in which the diet and fitness industries have us believing. Because if you would be able to do that, then any weight you would have lost through all the dieting, you would have maintained, you would have kept off. Diet culture makes you feel like it is your moral obligation to be at a certain weight or fit into a certain size. And if you can't complete or meet this obligation, then you're a failure. And it causes you to think that you're doing something wrong or you're not taking care of yourself if your weight is fluctuating. So that is a very big part of where this fear comes from. The second place the fear comes from is your own dieting history, right? And the environment in which we live. So let's face it, we've been brought up in a society and we live in a society that values thinness, the unrealistic thin ideal. And unfortunately, it treats people differently based on the size of their bodies. That is the reality of it. It is very unfortunate. And many of us have been conditioned to believe that being in a larger body is quote unquote bad. And that leads you to having these feelings of fear, anxiety, of possibly gaining weight if you embark on the intuitive eating journey. So again, I just want to go back and remind you, number one, some people gain weight, some people gain weight in the short term, some people lose weight, some people maintain their weight. So if we go back to the beginning of this training, I explain all of that. Okay. Oh, we've got Debbie on Instagram. Hi, Debbie. Thanks for being here. You should go back to the beginning, and I'd love to hear your comments on it later. All right, so it's time for us to really work on letting go of the fear, to really retrain your mind around this whole concept of weight gain, okay? So again, I want you to know that it's not a given that you're going to gain weight. Just remember that, right? And because I know that is something that holds people back from taking the plunge, right? And taking that leap of faith and saying, okay, I know dieting hasn't worked for me. It never has, it never will, but I'm still not at peace. I'm still not at peace. You know, I had a session with a client earlier this morning. I wish I had, do I have her quote here? Oh no, I wish I had her quote written. I wrote it down somewhere. And she said something to the effect of, I feel free to eat without fear. And that was something that when she started this journey, she had a tremendous amount of fear of eating because of what it would do to her body. And now, only a couple months into the journey, she feels free to eat, which was really amazing. So, okay, so let's talk about some strategies to cope with the fear. Because that fear, if you're holding on to this fear that potentially, that maybe, which we don't know for sure, because like I said before, nobody knows what your body will do or how your body will respond. But this fear that you hold is real. I get it. But it's holding you back from finally coming to a place of having peace with food and really being able to do so many things that you want to do in your life without having your brain space taken up so much with food fear and body weight and what you look like. So the first thing I want to share with you in terms of, my tip or my strategy to deal with this fear is this. Remember one thing: you are not alone. I think that's a really important concept, okay? Many people who enter this intuitive eating space have many of the same fears and anxieties that you have when it comes to this journey, especially around the weight situation. experiencing the feelings that you have is not solely unique to you or your given situation, right? A lot of people are in the same boat, which, by the way, is why with every one of my programs, there is a community, because we do want to be in community together to support each other. The fact is that just knowing that there are others going through what you're going through or experiencing the same thing that you're experiencing, right? This is part of what we call self-compassion practice. It's known as common humanity. Just knowing that, or being able to speak with somebody else or other people or a group of people that is going through the same situation, can help you soothe your discomfort. So if you've been contemplating getting started on your intuitive eating journey, but you've been holding back because of this fear of weight gain, understand that you don't need to sit with this fear alone, with the stress and the anxiety about the potential to that. Reach out for support in a community. The second strategy that I want to offer up to you is practice self-compassion. So common humanity is one part of self-compassion, right? But practice self-compassion by approaching weight gain in a new way, from a new perspective. Choose to support and care for your body right here, right now. Your here and now current body. Be kind to it. Nourish yourself consistently. Dress and wear clothes that feel comfortable for your here and now body. It doesn't feel good to wear clothes that are pinching and that are tight on you. That doesn't help with this at all. And always make sure you're giving your body the rest that it needs. And just remind yourself that of the long term, let me say it this way. Remind yourself of the long term overarching reason that you've adopted this new way of eating, of relating to food, and of living. Okay. Third strategy. So I want to hear from you. Post some thoughts and some comments in the chat. Number 3, keep in mind the following phrase: this too shall pass. Okay, this too shall pass. The discomfort and the stress that you feel around weight gain, or I should say potential weight gain, which is not necessarily a given, does not last forever. So as mentioned before, many of these negative emotions around weight gain come from your dieting history, from your own history of losing and gaining, right? From the messages of diet culture and personal experiences or traumas that you might have encountered even growing up. So by beginning to practice self-acceptance and compassion and love, I want you to then observe how your relationship with your body changes. So do you notice any changes, like how you feel about yourself, how you carry yourself through your days, how you speak about yourself, the language that you use to your body or about your body will change to be much more compassionate. The fears and the anxieties are real, but they will not last forever. And then 4, remind yourself of what you're gaining from this journey. Okay. You've decided, I'm not going to diet anymore because I see dieting just doesn't work. It just gives me a lot more anguish. And this is going to ultimately give me the peace of mind where food is not an issue in my life. I mean, raise your hands if you want food to be a non-issue in your life. Please post a comment, because I can't see if you're raising your hands. Do you want food to be a non-issue in your life? Do you? Hi, Nina. So glad you're here. Let's see. No, Nina writes a comment. Intuitive eating frees you to make food neutral. It doesn't mean eat with abandon. You need to listen to body signals, not just head and mouth. Amazing. That is so true. Excellent point, Nina. I'm so glad to see you come to that point. It's beautiful. So did you hear what Nina says? Intuitive eating frees you to make food neutral. It doesn't mean eat with abandon. And that is always, Louise says yes. And that is always what I say. Always what I say. It's intuitive eating isn't see it, want it, eat it. It's not instant gratification. It's opposite of that. So what are some of the reasons that you've decided to embark on this journey, to have peace with food, to have food freedom, to no longer letting food and food decisions control your life, to have a positive relationship with food, to have better sleep, an improved mood, a more positive outlook in life, a better social life because you're no longer going to socially isolate yourself, right? More spontaneous plans, more energy, just a great positive support system. I mean, I can go on and on. So just remind yourself of that. And then the next strategy is begin to not care about what people think. I know that is really hard. It's honestly something I work on all the time and I've improved, especially if you've seen me now coming onto social media in the last, 2 months in a way where it's not about perfection, right? It used to be that, I mean, I had so much pressure on, well, what would people think and how are people going to judge me and stuff like that. And now I've been going through my own transition. And I'm coming onto social media with not perfect makeup and not perfect hair and just, being who I am and, maybe flubbing my words a little bit. It's really important, right? So if you're coming around to the idea that your body is going to go through some sort of transition during this journey, and again, it doesn't mean it's a permanent transition, and you're okay with it because you see what's on the other side, right? You see the food freedom, you see how it's going to be beautiful to eat without guilt and enjoy your life with all of that food worry, then work on not caring what other people think of your body. It's totally not their business. And remember, they are sucked into the diet culture messages just like you've been. I also like to sometimes think about it as having compassion for them and hope that they'll come around to your way of thinking at some point in time, right? And the other really important piece of that is it's often your perception that they're thinking things about your body, but many times they're not even paying attention because, people are self absorbed. People care about themselves. People are all into, themselves and not so much really, they're not necessarily thinking what you think they're thinking. Louise says, this one I got to first. What does that mean? Louise, give me a little more info on what that means. This one I got to first. Clarify that if you can. So I know it's really hard, but you'll feel so much better and you'll feel like, okay, so here's an example. So last night, I went to a wedding. We had a friend married off their daughter. And we were sitting at the table and a friend of mine was really funny because, she made a request. And we were talking about this request she made. And she says, you know what? I don't care anymore what people think. She says, that's the benefit of getting older. She says, I care less. Let people think what they want to think. And I was so proud of her. And I was like, that is such a great attitude. Such a great attitude. Louise says, I've given up worrying about what others think. Okay, awesome. All right. So Louise, check that one. You've got that one. How about everybody else? Nina, if you're still with me, do you think about what other people think? Debbie, do you think about what other people think? Whoever else is with me on Facebook or YouTube, are you concerned about what other people think? Does that hold you back? I want to hear, because that's something we can absolutely work on. Absolutely. All right. So again, today's topic is how do we navigate the fear and the anxiety of potential weight gain when you embark on this intuitive eating journey? If you are just joining me, please go back to the replay and listen to some of the very important information I shared in the beginning, and then the strategies to help move through some of that fear and anxiety. Because what we want to make sure is this. Number one, if you recognize that diets don't work, if you recognize that diets have caused you harm, both to your physical health and your mental health, if you've decided that, yes, I want to start the intuitive eating journey, yet this fear of potential weight gain has prevented you from really jumping in with both feet, then I would encourage you to go back and listen again to today's training and to really begin to believe that your body will do what it naturally needs to do to get to a place of you achieving what we call a natural healthy weight, whatever that is for you. We do not have the control over our weight that the diet culture wants us to believe we do. We can take the best care of our bodies, and that will influence it. There's no doubt about it. So, how we nourish ourselves, how we move, how we stress manage, how we sleep, other habits and behaviors, how we manage emotions, right? All of these things absolutely play into how your body responds. But those are things that also you will work through on the intuitive eating journey. So I know those of you watching, I know quite a bit of you, and some of you have, taken some of my programs. If you are watching and you have taken the Intuitive Eating Basics course, that is a self-paced starter course, then I would invite you to look into joining me and the other women in the Intuitive Nutrition Circle. That is the In Circle, where we will continue to learn together on a monthly basis, where we're integrating gentle nutrition into your intuitive eating practice. So if you have gone through Intuitive Eating Basics, then that is your next step. And it's an amazing group of women, and we really come together to learn. If you have not yet taken the Intuitive Eating Basics course, but you are interested in the membership program, which is a very low cost. I know times are tough, so I'm not putting out very expensive options for you. It's very low cost, and you want in, then let me know, because I will provide a special for you where you can get into the In Circle and get access to the Intuitive Eating Basics course. You do need that basic course as a starter, just to have an idea, to get your toes, a little wet with intuitive eating. So key core concepts. So I would encourage you to send me a DM, and I will share the information with you. This is not something I'm promoting to the public, but only to people who follow me on all channels. So I would encourage you, don't have to do this alone. You do not have to do this alone. Okay? Does anybody have any questions? Do you have any questions watching here on Instagram? Do you have any questions on Facebook or YouTube in regards to the discussion today about navigating the fear or the potential fear of weight gain? I'm happy to answer any questions. And if not, and you think of a question later, by all means, come back to the replay, post a comment, and I will come back and I will answer. Okay? So if you want more information on the Intuitive Nutrition Circle and the Intuitive Eating Basics special, then just send me a private message, DM me on Facebook, pop a comment on YouTube, or send me an email, or on Instagram, send me a DM or a comment below this video, or send me an email, Bonnie@dietfreeradiantme.com. All right, so that's it for today. Wow, I'm on time. Amazing. Happy to see you all, and thank you for being in my world. I hope I provided you with some peace of mind today. And again, if you have any questions that come up for you after today's training, let me know. All right, so that is it for now on Facebook and YouTube. Louise, thank you for being here. And anybody else who is here that didn't comment, I appreciate you for being here live. I will see you guys next time. And for those on Instagram, thank you for being here. Nina, great to hear from you. I hope you're doing well. Would love to hear your update. All right, that's it for now. Take care.